So I was up here at Heritage Park and I saw these tents set up. I just had to come see what was going on, and apparently it's colonial days this weekend. So I'm here with
Shannon,
Shannon, and he is the beekeeper.
colonial beekeeper.
So go ahead and tell you what you got going.
Would love to tell you. A lot of people think that in colonial beekeeping, you see the little jar of honey, and it looks like a skep. And a lot of people think that in the colonies, the beekeepers kept their hives in skeps, like you see here. This is a straw skep that's similar to it. In actuality, they didn't. They didn't keep them in skeps. What they would do is they would actually take them out of the straw skeps and move them into like whiskey crates or nail kegs, little barrels, little crates. It was common back in the colonist days that a soldier would pass by a plantation and see 3 or 4 little crates and 3 or 4 little barrels. He would say, that guy has bees, that guy has honey, that guy has wax. So today we're going to actually take a look at how that the beekeeper, colonial beekeeper, would actually harvest honey, and as well we will take a look at how a colonial beekeeper would attend to his bees. Now the first thing that I would like to show you is this right here. Talk about protection. A beekeeper usually has a hat and bill, gloves. This would be similar to what a beekeeper would use. This is made out of linen. And what's funny is I will hold this to you here. And can you look through it?
Yeah, you can see through it, yeah.
You can see through it. It's not as easy as the hat and veil that we have nowadays, but that's the most protection that they would have. Or they wouldn't wear anything at all. Wow. Yeah. And also, very brave beekeepers. Our forefathers were very brave. And as well, they wouldn't wear gloves. So they would handle them barehanded. Now, as for smoking the hives, you've probably seen the big smoker that they use nowadays to smoke a beehive. It's a bellows, produces a lot of smoke. The idea of what they would have had in the colonial days is something like this, a little bitty smoker. The plantation owner would have hired from the tinsmith to make him a little smoker just like that, to where he would actually take the smoker and actually attach it to a bellows and puff smoke into the hive.
So this would be like charcoal in there?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Kindling. Yep.
Gotcha.
Like wood scraps. Yep.
Oh.
Now the thing is as well, you didn't really need that type of smoker. If you were a commoner or common folk, you could actually take a little kindling or little stuff that would just start a fire, just get a little bit of smoke, and then basically just fan the smoke right into the hive. That's all that's taken, is just a little bit of smoke, minimal smoke to get in the hive to calm the bees. Once they calm the bees, then they could go in and get the honey. And that's what we're going to do right now, is we're going to go in and get the honey from the hive. For simulation right now, I'm going to use fake comb because it does get messy. And
Well, I wouldn't be here if there were real bees anyway.
I hear you. I hear you. So we're going to use fake comb. Now, have you ever eaten comb honey?
I have, yes.
It is the best.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people say they haven't eaten it, and I always make the comment, if you ever had the Fruit Gushers candy, well, that's about 100 times better, the comb honey is. You can eat as much as you want. Now, the thing is once you eat all the comb honey that you like, what do you do with the rest of the honey? How would they have processed it? Today, I'm going to show you how they would have done it. You take the comb honey. All that you need is this right here. This is cheesecloth. And cheesecloth they had back in the colonial days. This is the most simplest method that they would use back in the colonial days to get the honey out of the comb. All you do is lay it out on the table so, like this. Take your comb, put it in the center, curl up your corners, and then once you curl up your corners, if you start twisting down and wrenching down on that comb, it's going to get tighter and tighter. What's going to happen to the cells of honey in there?
It's just going to squeeze right out.
It's going to squeeze right out. That's actually called crush and strain. You can look it up on YouTube. Some of your beekeepers that do not have extracting equipment will use crush and strain to get the honey out of their comb nowadays. And I can guarantee you that that's what they used back in the colonial days. It's crush and strain. It's so simple because once you crushed it there, then you can simply just take a couple implements, put it over like that, take a cover to keep the bugs out, cover the bowl like that, pack that on the wagon. Meanwhile, the honey's dripping down into the bowl, and within 2 to 3 days, you have your honey. This is all wax now, and you have your honey in the bowl, ready to eat.
And so what do you do with the wax?
Let's talk about the wax there. Well, now the wax there, nothing was left, nothing was wasted in the colonies. And you have beeswax here. Let's talk about the beeswax. Well, the easiest way that they would have processed this is they would have actually taken a pail. They would have sent Jack and Jill to the creek to fetch a pail of water, like that. They would have taken a pail. They would have actually sent the kid to get a rock, given the kid some string, tied the rock up with the string, tied the wax to the rock, put it all in the pail, fill the pail up to about ½ inch from the top with water, put the whole thing onto a fire. Now, as that's boiling and boiling and boiling, the wax is going to melt out of the cheesecloth. It's going to float to the surface because wax is lighter than water.
You just scrape it right up.
And at a point, all you have to do is take your rag, lift your bale off the fire and pot off the fire, set it on cold ground, let it solidify, and scrape it out, just like he said. The wax comes right out. At that point, you can melt it into a block and form a block of beeswax.
Huh.
That's simple. Now, I have a question for you. I've given you a lot of information, but I got a question right back for you. You did not know that this is a quiz, did you?
I didn't.
There is the yummy honey that you produced. Now you've seen how we produce the beeswax. In my colonial time, what was more important, the beeswax or the honey? What would you say?
Well, I guess the wax is used for quite a few products. I mean, the honey's great because you can travel with it.
That's
it
right.
never expires.
That's right, exactly.
But the wax, I guess, would be used to seal scrolls and
Absolutely.
soaps and,
Yep.
and different products that are needed all over.
That's right. In fact, the use for the wax, if you can spin around here, is right here.
Oh, well, candles. Of
Yeah,
course.
in about 4 hours from now, as we do the reenactment, it'll get pitch black dark out here. With it being pitch black dark, we can't see. Voila! We got beeswax candles. So that's a use. As he said, sealing scrolls, sealing documents, waterproofing. You got raw wood and water, it'll rot the wood. But however, if you treat it with beeswax, it seals
Oh, yeah.
wood right there. You can feel the wax right there in the wood, and it seals the wood. So beeswax was more important. But what was honey the #1 sweetener at that point?
Huh. I never really thought about it.
It was a good sweetener, but for the colonial period, it was not the #1 sweetener. What was the #1 sweetener? I'll give you a hint. It's white, it's on your kitchen table right now, and it's very sweet.
Sugar.
Sugar, absolutely. Now, in the colonial days, sugar did not come white, and it was not in a granular form that you see nowadays. What it actually was is it was cane sugar. And cane sugar, they were pipelining it up from the Caribbean through slave trade. So there was tons of cane sugar being produced and brought up. And it was a huge economical thing to bring that sugar up to the colonies so that the colonies could have cane sugar. It was a brown sugar, and it usually came in a cone. You would actually have to take a knife and actually scrape your sugar off the cone to have it. So what was honey used for then?
Well, other than cooking?
Yeah, besides sweets.
Oh.
Some of the main uses for it. Well, I can tell you that. Did you say you had a sore throat today? Try honey. That sniffle you had, try honey. You had said you had a stomach ache, try honey. And then again, it makes a wonderful beverage. That's my demonstration on colonial beekeeping.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you
Pleasure.
for talking to me.
Pleasure.
And well, what all are you guys going to have here this weekend? You got
We
the battle
actually are
reenactments?
we're having 2 battle reenactments. I think they're about 2ish, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
3 o'clock.
Huh?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that is both Saturday and Sunday. So there will be a lot more going on tomorrow during Saturday, and a lot more going on Sunday. So feel free to drop out. Any questions you have?
Well, you've covered quite a bit. What other kind of shops are there going to be here?
Oh, we have our regimental shop that we'll have set up tomorrow, to where you can actually see what a soldier actually carried on him, as far as towards weapons, as far as towards muskets, as far as towards his clothes. And you can actually take a look at the clothes that the soldier carried on. And there will be somebody working on woodwork here as well, and doing woodwork.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
There will probably be ladies that will be sewing. Please feel free to come out and take a look.
Well, sounds like a great time.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
I hope to see you here.
So now I'm at another shop. This is Forrest the Woodsman, and he's going to go over some colonial woodworking tools.
All right. Oh, what I wanted to start off showing, this first piece of wood here, this is a rough sawn lumber. So this is how it would come out of the woods from the sawmill, or from the men cutting the trees and timbering them out in the woods. Back in the colonial times, of course, everything that you could make yourself, you made. And that's, woodworking was a very big part of their life. Everything they needed, they could provide right here. So this wood would come out of the woods like that, but it's not very useful to make your tables, make your wooden boxes that you see behind me.
Pre-sandpaper, huh?
Pre-sandpaper.
All right.
Pre-sandpaper. You could do it with sandpaper, but it's going to take a long time. And what we're going to use is a block plane. This, you can see the wood here.
Believe it or not, my grandpa had one of those in his garage.
These have been used for 1,000 years.
Huh.
Thousands of years, yep. Very same thing, mostly wood, a little bit of metal there for the cutting blade. And that's the cutting blade there on the bottom. And then this is another tool that we use. This is a draw shave. And that's to thin the wood down and make it the dimensions that
So
you would
for
want.
kind of heavier cutting, this is thinner shave, and that's a heavier
Yep.
shave.
Yep.
Okay.
And so we'll use this for just a minute, show you how it takes the wood right down. And you can see the camera can see it, but you got the wood shavings coming right off. And if you feel that now, you can see that it's smoother, but still not as smooth as you would like for a piece of furniture. That's when this plane comes in then and does the same thing. It's just a little bit finer. We're just gonna run it along there. Again, you'll see the wood chips falling out, and as that takes that down even smoother.
Not quite as smooth as sandpaper, but a whole lot better than it was. Yeah.
Yep. And as you keep going, and then this
Oh.
is the rasp. So this is our last tool to attack it before sandpaper. We can still always use sandpaper, but the wood rasp is going to come in, and depending upon how you move it, this way you can hear it's very very smooth. You know, it's not digging much. It's a very gradual. But if I turn it,
Oh, you're taking out pretty
now,
good hunks there.
now we're taking a pretty good hunk off. So if you want to thin a wood, shape a wood, take an edge off, you can come in with the rasp, and then it leaves it kind of rough. But then you come back over it with the smoother grind, and there you go. Got a nice smooth edge there.
Oh, yeah. No splinters there.
No splinters. No splinters.
Excellent.
and give it a nice rounded edge.
So you're working on some wooden spoons here, it looks like. Well, what is this?
Yeah, and eventually this will be a little soldier.
Ah, okay.
Yep. So doing just some chip carving. This would be very common activity for all the soldiers when you had downtime, and that's because it's very simple tools. They all carried a knife with them, and just chip carving in. You can see the beginning of his nose and eyes, cheekbones, his beard, and eventually he'll take shape.
Kind of looks like Santa right now.
Yep, looks a little like Santa. and for spoon carving,
Making some wooden spoons.
we have a special knife here for the spoon carving, and that carves that round, goes right in and carves out your spoon. And it would also carve out a wooden bowl, a wooden trencher, so anything that we had, carve that out. And when they break or are lost or destroyed, or you have to leave them behind because you fled from the battle and you were beaten, it's easy enough to make up a new one.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so that just carves that out. And then this knife, this is the push cut, they call it. You see how my thumb is pushing it along? Or there's the draw cut, and that's where you draw it towards you.
I'm a klutz. I would cut myself so many times.
Yep.
I have to do a push cut. I'm gonna chop my hands off.
And just keep working it until the handle's nice and round, and eventually it'll come out looking like this very well used wooden spoon.
Did you make that one yourself?
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Looks
Years
like
ago.
looks like you got it at a shop. Well, years ago.
Years ago. So it's been well worn. Been well worn since it was made.
Well, very cool. Thank
Yeah.
you for demonstrating.
You're welcome.
So if you are looking for something to do this weekend right here in Taylor Heritage Park, they're going to have the Colonial Days. It seems like it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot to learn.